back to the Metro. On 101.9 WDET FM, I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Robin Vincent. It's Monday, so we're bringing you another conversation with the Detroit Documenters. They train and pay residents to cover government and public meetings in Southeast Michigan. And one thing they've learned at one of those recent meetings is that county veteran affairs offices across the state are in a tricky financial situation. Money they usually receive from the Michigan County Veteran Service Fund was miscalculated. Money they were told is coming might not be.
And Robin, that comes at a time when Donald Trump and Elon Musk are cutting funds and firing people at the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, making all financial support right now very crucial. Metro producer Jack Filbrandt sat down with documenter Marcia, Hartman, and coordinator Noah Kincade to find out how this accounting came about and its effect on Wayne County.
Marcia, I know this wasn't the original meeting you intended to cover, but you stumbled upon a really interesting story like documenters do. Can you talk about how you came to this meeting?
Well, the Detroit Documenters attend meetings and take notes and try to keep the public aware of what's going on in some of these less well-known meetings that happen. So on March 12th, I was scheduled to attend the audit committee meeting of the Wayne County Commissioners. I'd gotten a new computer, and I'd never entered, a Zoom meeting before on this computer, so I was just sort of going early to check it out. And I found myself in the Senior Services Veterans Affairs Committee just by chance, so I caught the tail end of this and thought it was pretty interesting and let Noah know what I'd found out. So,
Noah, can you explain the grant program and how it works?
Sure. So this is the County Veterans Service Fund grant. It's one of 4 grants issued by the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. And the way that this works is every year they allocate $50,000 in grants for each county. So 50,000 times there's 83 counties. That's the first component. The second component is based on it's a per capita component that's based on how many veterans are in each county, and the money for that is kind of this collective pool. So not every county applies for the $50,000 each year. Not every county applies for this grant. Any counties that don't, that $50,000 goes into this pool that's used for the second component. Also, if there's any counties that didn't use a portion of the $50,000 from the previous year, that unused portion has to get returned to the state, and it goes into this pool for the second per capita component.
This per capita portion is what we're talking about today, Noah. When it comes to this per capita portion of the grant, why is Wayne County getting the most of it?
It's just really because of we have the largest population. We're the largest. We have the largest population of people of any county in the state, and we have the most vets.
Marcia, how much money did Wayne County expect to get from this grant?
From the second part of the grant, they expected to get $821,500 plus.
And how much money are they going to be getting now?
It was cut down to $304,000. That's 63% cut to this year's funding.
We have a clip from Wayne County Veteran Affairs Director Randy Walker talking about how it's impacting peacetime veterans.
Right now, we can't help any peacetime veterans. They're cut off till September 30th, through September 30th. So that's the latest update. It's not good news.
Noah, can you explain how this grant funding process works?
Yeah, so they come up with this projection, and it's a projection based on how much they think they're going to have in this pool to share for the per capita portion. So at the beginning of the fiscal year, they're told what that projected amount is that they're going to have. So in this case, it was over $820,000. And then the county says thanks. Now we kind of know how to budget, and the county just starts spending. And then they get reimbursed quarterly. So I believe what happened in this case is, the fiscal year started October 1st. They spent for the first quarter. They got reimbursed. They probably were just filing for the second reimbursement, but this letter came out saying, actually, you're going to get so much less that in this case with Wayne County, they had actually already spent for the whole year what they were planning on getting reimbursed, for the next 2 quarters, and there's just no more money left.
You're listening to The Metro, and we're talking with Detroit documenter Marcia Hartman and coordinator Noah Kincade about a County Veteran Service Fund grant. The funds were miscalculated, and it's leaving Wayne County Veteran Affairs and other county VAs across the state in a tough financial position. Noah, any idea how this miscalculation came about?
Yeah, so I talked to Kristen Herman, who's the public affairs officer at the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, and she said this is really a very unfortunate happening. This is a very unfortunate situation that occurred because of what she called kind of a perfect storm. First of all, she emphasized the fact that this is a projection. It's based on numbers that haven't fully come in yet because when this projection's made, the current tax year hasn't closed out. But at the time that this projection was made, the MVAA was in between CFOs. So they may have had somebody acting, but they didn't have a permanent CFO at the time. They also had new staff members that were working in both their financial department and their grant making department. And then the third thing that kind of compounded this is that there was just a much greater level of participation by the counties last year than they were expecting. There was more of that initial $50,000 got asked for and used by counties, which, she emphasized that's a win to them. That's a positive thing for the MVAA. That's the whole point of this grant. They want all the counties applying for it. They want all the counties getting it, and they want all that money getting used. They don't really want there to be this extra unused amount at the end of the year. So that's actually a positive, but it just negatively affected all these counties like Wayne that have kind of over the years learned they could rely on this extra per capita part that's supposed to be a bonus. But, in this case, we're talking about 800 and some thousand versus the 50,000 original. This is actually the largest amount of the grant that Wayne County's been getting.
Marcia, can you talk about how this miscalculation impacts counties across the state?
Well, just out of curiosity, I looked up a search and found news articles from Oakland and Ottawa County. They were learning about this about the same time we did. And, of course, we're also upset. Oakland County was initially awarded $530,000, and that was reduced 60% to $208,000. They're hoping the state will reinstate at least some, if not all, of that money. And Ottawa County lost 50% of their expected monies and are not going to be able to do a program that would increase benefits to peacetime veterans.
We have a clip from Director Walker talking about the statewide impact of this accounting error.
Yeah, it hit every county. There's a lot of unhappy counties. I've heard some counties, they'll never apply for this grant again. They're fed up with the MVAA. I mean, you hear all kinds of comments, but no, everybody. It wasn't just us. They miscalculated the pot for the whole state.
Marcia, does this have to do with what we're hearing going on at the federal level with cuts to the VA?
No, this is just strictly money from the state of Michigan. And the county, some of the peacetime veterans benefits that they might not be able to access are things that sort of keep our vets stable. They might get money for food if they, are struggling, or utilities, rent, mortgage payments. The county helps pay for burials for veterans whose families are struggling to do that. So it's those kind of things that keep our veterans stable and from falling into homelessness or some other bad situation.
What programs are underway for Wayne County Veterans Affairs that could be delayed because of this?
Well, we heard Director Walker already say that they wouldn't be able to give services to peacetime veterans. They also talked about how they were initiating a new program, a mobile van that would go out and take services out to veterans in neighborhoods or in gatherings of veterans. And they feel that won't be a success unless they have money to advertise it so the veterans will know to come. So they were expecting this grant to pay for advertising for that. And there are 2 staff that are funded by the grant, a clerk and a social services specialist. So they hope to be able to keep those people.
I want to play a clip from Wayne County Commissioner Tim Killeen giving his perspective on bad news at the end of the meeting.
I'd rather know when bad news, so to speak, is on our doorstep. It gives us a chance to think about it and react to it as opposed to just sitting back and taking it. So I tell my staff at all times, bad news is my favorite news. Tell me the good news, at any time, but the bad news gives us an opportunity to do something about it. So thank you for the transparency.
Noah, how could the county step in and help in this situation?
Yeah, the county could cover this shortfall, basically, and Director Walker kind of indicated that was actually why he was there, to just kind of like get the commissioners to start thinking about like this might be a need that he's going to have to ask for. But there's also a possibility that the state will come back with more money or more help in other ways. The MVAA feels very badly about this. They expressed that, they understand that by not having this money to give out to counties that were expecting to use it, the result of that is that veterans are not going to get services that that they were expecting. And so they are taking this very seriously. And I was told that the director of the MVAA and several others are going county by county to meet with the local directors of the county Veterans Affairs programs to talk to them, find out what their needs are, find out how they are being affected by this, and try to find a solution.
That was Metro producer Jack Filbrandt talking with Detroit documenter Marcia Hartman and coordinator Noah Kincade. Counties across the state are navigating a financial error to the County Veteran Service Fund. And tomorrow on the Metro, we'll have a conversation about how we take care of our veterans in the U.S., especially when they're finished with active duty and working their way back into civilian life. If you're a vet, we want to hear what helped you adjust to a new life. Leave us a voicemail. Go to the WDET mobile app and tap donate and let us know your name and city when you do.
This is the Metro, and from the WDET newsroom, hundreds of people gathered at Hart Plaza in downtown Windsor for an international protest. People on both sides of the border gathered to show their displeasure in President Donald Trump's policies and rising tensions between the two countries. The Detroit Free Press reports organizers have more protests planned this spring in Detroit and the Lansing area. Coming up at 11, you can't learn if you aren't in school. We'll stay on education and return to the topic of chronic absenteeism in Detroit and the United States.
And up next, there's a new community center opening in Southwest Detroit, and it wants to be a home and hub for nonprofits in Southwest. We'll talk with the CEO of the Dresner Community Center next. We'll be right back on the Metro. Stay with us.